Mizuto chose to go through with his punishment for the underwear incident and invited Yume out on a date. Mizuto's unexpected invitation caught Yume off guard, but she ultimately accepted it. Minami had promised to marry Mizuto and become Yume's sister, so Kawanami thought it would be a good idea to date Yume to break her heart. He makes an effort to convince Minami that Yume only has Mizuto in her heart. Minami and Kawanami followed them throughout their date, while Kawanami counseled Mizuto at various points. Minami apologizes to Mizuto for all the difficulty she's caused after the date, but maintains her desire to wed him. Yume punishes Mizuto for having her panties at home by doing the same to her. A quick flashback depicts Yume and Mizuto as children, before they were legally dating. Mizuto holds this particular evening in high regards. Yume asks Mizuto to go with her to the store to get their mother a Mother's Day gift, while he reads a book on the couch in their living room. Yume believes that, if they divided the cost and delivered it to her together, it would be less embarrassing. As he wishes to enjoy his Sunday alone, Mizuto decides that the second justification is the real one behind her request. Yume appears unconcerned by the reply, accepts Mizuto's denial, and leaves before later returning all dolled up, breaking the rules they adhere to by making Mizuto gawk at her. Later, they take a subway ride and find themselves in an awkward position with one another due to the choppy ride. They opt to remain there for the most part, since they will do it again if the train becomes more choppy. They visit an Isetan and peruse the kitchenware on sale at the mall. They finally settle on getting their mum a bunch of carnations. Yume consoles Mizuto as she sees him paying his respects to his mother's altar that afternoon. They then discuss how, despite being newlyweds, their parents seldom ever spend time together. When Yume retorts that she doesn't think Mizuto was capable of noble consideration, Mizuto asserts that he thinks their parents are being considerate of them. They then consider devising a scheme to spend time with their parents away from the house in an effort to bring them closer. However, this is fruitless, and the next morning they bring it up again over breakfast. In fact, Mizuto managed to arrange for them to stay at Kaguya and Akatsuki's house. The two of them actually live next door, Mizuto also adds. The two are welcomed when they visit the apartment building, where Akatsuki and Kaguya reside on Saturday. Akatsuki and Kaguya tell Mizuto and Yume about their past interactions after they part ways. Kaguya also makes a vulgar remark toward Arito, although he pretended it was in response to something Mizuto had said. Yume immediately begins to pound on the wall and then bombards Mizuto with SMS calling him a pervert. Mizuto hog wraps Kaguya in a sleeping bag and reads a poem he wrote about his feelings for Akatsuki when they were dating as punishment for what Kaguya done. As a result, Yume has to hold Akatsuki back as she smashes her fists on the wall. Following that, they all eat at a restaurant named Suzuya, where Kaguya and Akatsuki initially disagree over what to order. Later, after arguing about what to drink, Kaguya and Akatsuki advise that Yume and Mizuto combine their beverages with those offered at the soda machine. The two decide that this is a prank, and Akatsuki cuddles up next to Mizuto and asks him to tutor her. However, he offers that Yume tutor Akatsuki instead because she is a better teacher than him. Yume thinks Mizuto was admiring her, but when he says that his lack of effort to achieve good grades makes him a bad instructor, she gets furious. Back at home, everyone studies for the exams that are coming up, while outside, Mizuto likes Yume's pajamas that Akatsuki had her wear. After reflecting on how similar their present encounters with one another are to their initial ones, they go to bed. Yume is approached by Akatsuki, who offers to stroll with her, but she declines. Then, Akatsuki's pals interject, saying that Yume has a lot on her plate because she wants to win the forthcoming midterm exam. Yume is studying at home when she remembers how Mizuto beat her in a math test in middle school, even though she was the academic standout. As a result, Yume diligently studied to retake her place in the top slot, but Mizuto didn't seem to mind. Yume thought she had an unrequited rivalry with him because she felt hollow and unfulfilled by her success as a result of this. She met him by chance in the library, and once they started talking about mysteries, she fell in love. Later meets Mizuto, who doesn't appear to be studying very much, but he still promises to beat her to the top spot in the impending midterms. Yume responds that he can do his worst in response to such assertion. The next day, Yume yawns loudly, and Mizuto remarks on Yume's tenacity in maintaining her position as the school's top official. Yume dismisses it, saying that keeping her position there is essential to her existence. Yume reviews her test results after the first day of exams, but she is concerned that Mizuto might have done better because Japanese is one of his academic specialties. So Yume walks into Mizuto's room, finds his test, confronts him about how he purposefully left the last answer blank, and accuses him of holding back for her sake. Then, to help resolve the conflict, their mother steps in and departs to get their father. In contrast, Mizuto maintains his position and says Yume is free to think whatever she wants about him and that he has no interest in participating in the midterms in the first place. She sobs in response to Mizuto's remarks and subsequently goes back to her room, convinced that she really have an unrequited rivalry with Mizuto. When the midterm results are finally made public, it turns out that Mizuto came in top and Yume came in second. Yume understands what defines her after talking to Mizuto and subsequently Akatsuki and her pals. When Yume comes to this knowledge, she sobs with excitement, and Akatsuki comforts her by assuming her tears are actually tears of sorrow. In the library, Yume observes Mizuto talking to a new female and uses the same pickup line he did with her. The girl's name was Asana, and the two of them discussed a variety of topics, including what friendship entails. It turned out that Mizuto already liked Asana and that she was the only person with whom he connected. Asana is properly introduced to Yume and Akatsuki when the two run into them later at the school's entrance. Asana learns about Yume and their relationship after they leave. Yume considers her connection with Mizuto, both in the past and present, at home before being more nice and friendly with him the following day at dinner. Mizuto is perplexed by Yume's conduct and he tells Asana about it, explaining that he doesn't find Yume annoying to chat to. Asana then reluctantly offers Mizuto some counsel on his predicament and continues by saying that everyone has their own set of standards. Mizuto appreciates the guidance Asana provided, kind of like a foundational example of what a person would like or enjoy from another. He eventually visits Yume in her room as she enjoys how great she feels about being over Mizuto. Then Mizuto admits that he doesn't like the way she's been treating him lately and asks what set it off. Mizuto is relieved when Yume admits that Asana was the cause of the personality changes, although he remarks as he leaves Yume's room that it was weird. Asana is surprised by Yume's abrupt introduction to her the following day at school when she is joined by Akatsuki. After Mizuto corrects Yume about her perception of their relationship, Asana responds in an impersonal manner, reiterating her disinterest in Mizuto. Subscribe to the channel for more anime recaps.